Hi, welcome to Coach Barnabas. It is episode 107. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have in my hand, it's an air gun, and you can use it, okay? You can use it to kind of clean out the dust from your keyboard or whatever, just little things, little air gun. Now, the reason I bring that up is because we have 3 cats, and the cats are oftentimes hungry for breakfast earlier than my wife and I are ready to start our day. And to kind of keep them in line, some people use like a squirt bottle and squirt water at them. That usually scares them off and gets them to leave you alone. We tend to think that's a little bit cruel. So what I found to be handy was this little air gun. And this little sound is enough to scare them off. And they run off and leave us alone. We might be able to get another 15, 30 minutes of sleep in before they try again. And I may have to do this again. Now, with that, they've gotten used to this little guy, and I don't know if you could hear it or not. I'm going to get this real close to the mic, but before the actual burst of air, there's a little click from the button. There's a little trigger button here. See if you can hear that. You hear that? So when I press it full and hold on to it, that's when the air comes out. Here's the thing. For a while, they hate that air blast, and it's not at them, it's just the sound. The sound freaks them out, and off they go, and they leave us alone. But that little click, they've gotten conditioned to where if they hear that little click right there, that they know something's coming, and they take off. Just the sound of that little click. It's very subtle, but their ears pick up on that, and they adjust and they take off. I mentioned in a recent episode that God kind of confronted me on something, and more than one thing, but just things that are like burrs in your personality, things that are sticking up jagged edges, and he wants to buff them down and get them nice and smooth again. And one of the things that he confronted me on was that I can have a bit of a critical spirit, a critical nature. And this is really no more evident than when I'm driving. So I could be driving, somebody cuts me off, and I don't get road rage. I'm not going to run them down and yell at them or that kind of thing. But it irritates me. And my wife, we're going on a road trip in a few weeks. We're heading down to Florida. So we're going to spend many hours in the car. And this is probably one of those things where we have a great time, but this is one of those things where if somebody does something stupid in front of me, it gets on my nerves. Okay. And I could be a little judgmental when it comes to people's driving. Well, so yesterday I'm out running some errands. And in my travels, in my driving, I just felt like the Lord was reminding me of this particular part of my personality, my character that needs some work. And in that time, I just prayed and said, God, you know what? I don't want to have a critical spirit. I want to see people as you see them. Help me to do that. Help me to have that kind of vision. Let me see through the lens of your love and your spirit when I see people, even if they do things that I don't like. Now, tactically speaking, that's a wonderful prayer, but probably not one to use while engaged in the activity that oftentimes brings me face to face or face to bumper with other people on the road. Because this is just proof that God means business. When you say to him, God, I want to fix something, he doesn't waste time. He's on it. Okay, let's go. So, within seconds of me saying those words to God, within seconds, I am not exaggerating, seconds. I'm driving down a road that's 2 lanes, but one of the lanes ends, and so the 2 become 1 lane. There's a car in front of me, but I'm giving them enough little cushion of distance, so I'm not tailgating them. Nice car length and a half or so of distance, just right, in case they step on the brakes or anything, I got room. Well, the car behind me thought there's just enough room for my car to squeeze in there, so he passed me on the right and squeezed in there between myself and the car in front of me. We're doing about 45, 50 miles an hour. So, and I'm just like, ah! And then the Holy Spirit just gave me this sound. And it was like, oh man, I had just prayed that like a minute ago. And somebody does this little maneuver on the road and felt that space was custom made for them. Okay. And I got upset about it. And God gave me that little click. And I heard it. It's like, oh my gosh, you're right. And seriously, between that point and home, like 2 other things happened that I found myself gripping the steering wheel and just, and click. Okay, yeah, you're right, Lord. Okay. He put me to the test like immediately. So you want to do this? Let's go. Fast forward to later that evening. We went to visit somebody out of town. I parked across the street from their place. Careful not to block the driveway of the house that I was parked in front of. And at the end of the night, we go back out to the car, and there's a car parked in front of me blocking that very same driveway that I was making sure I wasn't obstructing in any way. That car was parked in front of me, literally making contact with the front of my car. There was nothing. You couldn't slip a piece of paper between my license plate on my front bumper and their license plate on their rear bumper. It was actually making contact. And I was just like, my goodness, that's unbelievable. And there was a kind of a post behind me, so I was somewhat snookered in, but I was able to get out pretty easily. And it is what it is. We're getting in the car to go to work, go to church on Sunday morning, and I'm sitting there, and honestly, I felt like God reminded me of that thing from the night before, of the car pressed up against my license plate, because it didn't anger me. I wasn't like, what idiot does this? I didn't, nothing like that. It was more like, wow, all right. And the Lord just kind of said, you did it. Didn't even need a little click. It's just like, you did it. And then on the way to church, I got behind a car, and we weren't late, but I wanted to get there early enough. But there's a car in front of me that felt like the speed limit was something that was unattainable to them. They just felt it was something that I cannot attain. They were driving rather slowly. But even so, I just like, in my mind, it's like, you know what? God, you're good. Thank you for this opportunity to test that commitment I have to, I want to see people through your eyes. There was just just this morning, by 9 a.m., God had given me multiple opportunities to again put that challenge to the test, so to speak. And I'm thankful for that. So, I wanted to share that with you. And I actually shared this word with my church this morning. I was scheduled to speak for a few minutes, and I felt like God was putting this on my heart. But even, again, God just gave me opportunity this morning before I even got to church to just put that into practice. And so I don't know what your thing is. Maybe it's something similar where you can have a little bit of a critical spirit, but it's not limited to that. Is there something in your life God is speaking to you? And, sometimes he confronts you, and it's painful. It's hard. It's that, right? But that's how he gets your attention. He says, okay, we need to deal with something. And he opens it up. It's like, here it is. It shines a big light on it. It says, this is something that's part of your personality, part of your behavior pattern that we need to fix. And it takes a little work, because it's kind of woven into your personality and the way you respond to things or whatever. But God is loving enough to say, let's talk about this and let's fix it. And he's faithful. And sometimes it's that blast. Okay, God, you got my attention. And sometimes it's a still small voice, that little click that just reminds you that, okay, that was a test and you came up a little short, but you're working on it. Let's go. Let's try it again. And God is faithful to kind of just keep us in situations that are going to try us and get to the point where it just becomes second nature to not do the thing that you once used to do, and it's no longer part of your behavior pattern because you submitted that to the Lord. See, for me, I let sin against me kind of put sin in me. It led to sin in me. And maybe that's the thing for you. It's like, don't let sin against you produce sin in you. That's what was happening to me, and it's something I'm probably going to be working on the rest of my life. But that little click, that little blast of air, whatever it is that God needs to do to get my attention, say that was an opportunity, or here comes an opportunity, or you nailed it, nice job, whatever the case is. But what is your situation? What is it that God is saying to you? And say, let's fix that. Let's work on that. No more. Identify that thing and say, God, let's do this. I want to, in my case, like I said, I want to see people through your eyes and not be so critical when people don't do things as I think they should, as I expect them to do it. Because I'm not their judge. It's not up to me. I don't know what they're going through. But I want to see them with compassion through the eyes of God. What is your thing? What is God telling you to do, to work on, to fix, to overcome, to smooth out that thing that's sticking up that needs to be taken away and done away with. Think about that. That's my encouragement to you. So thank you again for joining me. Be encouraged, be an encourager. I look forward to talking again very soon. Take care.